The red-orange sunsets of New Mexico make a beautiful sight when combined with the heat waves radiating off the blistering hot highways in the summer. That was one of the very few things I liked about that state. But it was my fault I was there in the first place. To start, my name is Josh. I was born and raised in San Diego and lived a pretty normal life. Well, normal, as in I was the child of a couple that divorced when I was 10, which led to me having crippling depression until I went to therapy at the age of 16. Therapy changed me from a lethargic, depressed teenager to an energetic perfectionist of a young man. I wanted to be the perfect man. I wanted a perfect body, a beautiful wife, a high-paying job, a nice car, and a beachfront house in one of San Diego's richest communities, La Jolla. Unfortunately, I hit a bit of a snag in those plans when I graduated high school. It probably stemmed from my girlfriend at the time dumping me abruptly. She said it was because she'd be moving out of state for college, but someone with my mindset has a tendency to assume the worst. I thought she was lying to me, and that she just wanted to go off and sleep with a bunch of guys she met at parties. I had lost the confidence I had gained in one single blow to my ego. I now doubted if I could do any of that at all. Combine this with my lack of friends, my poor grades for my first half of high school not allowing me to go to any of the schools I really wanted to go to, and the immature impulsiveness of an 18-year-old, and I made the decision to go to New Mexico State University just to have a change of scenery and a fresh start. I didn't make too many friends at all during my time at college, and I dated very little. I was pretty upset with myself for the decision to come here, but then again, I wasn't exactly sure what I wanted to do with myself either. I felt lost. I wasn't even sure I wanted to do anything with the master's degree in psychology I was about. I was now 22 and it was my final spring break before I was done with college. During my breaks, I picked up a job working at a gas station about 45 minutes east of Las Cruces. The pay was pretty good and the owner let me stay in a small shack in the lot when I was off. Perfect. It was one of the last days of break, and the sun was setting as a car loudly pulled into the gas station. It was a tall, well-dressed man with jet black hair in a spotless, bright red Corvette. He was blasting a song that commonly came on the store's playlist, Tomorrow by Silverchair. Ironically, as soon as it stopped when he shut the car off and got out, the song started in the store. He walked in, still with his sunglasses on, and nodded a hello to me. He walked to the back and grabbed 2 Red Bulls out of the third fridge from the left without even having to look for them, then made his way to the counter. "Did you find everything you were looking for, sir?" I asked. "Yeah. Could I get a pack of cigarettes, too? Surprise me?" he said in a deep, raspy voice. I picked the red Marlboros because he drove a red car. "Thank you, Mr. Hampton. Excellent choice," he said cheerfully. He said it so casually as if it wasn't completely insane that this complete stranger just called me by my last name without me even telling him. "That's quite the guess, sir. Maybe you should buy a lotto ticket," I laughed. It ain't luck, Mr. Hampton. It's my job to know that," he grinned. "What do you mean by that?" I asked, hesitantly. He squirmed a bit with excitement. He had clearly been waiting for me to ask that the whole time. He proceeded to remove his sunglasses to reveal his brilliantly golden eyes. "Because, Mr. Hampton, I'm the devil." I rolled my eyes at this ludicrous remark. "Really? I don't see any horns on you, sir," I joked. He cleared his throat, and his expression turned to one of pure seriousness and sincerity. "Coke or Pepsi?" he asked. "Excuse me?" I said. "Coke or Pepsi?" he asked with more sternness. Coke, I guess," I said, confused. He snapped his fingers, and a 2-liter of Pepsi sitting in one of the refrigerators exploded. "As I was saying, Mr. Hampton, I'm the devil," he said with satisfaction and showmanship. I was freaked out. Either the owner was playing a prank on me, or I was talking to the devil. Considering the owner was a 70-year-old man, I was pretty positive I was looking Satan in the face. "Ever get bored out here, Mr. Hampton? Hell, you ever get bored with life in general?" he asked with an unnatural amount of gravitas and charisma. "Yeah, I guess," I responded shakily. "I know you do, Mr. Hampton. It's why I'm here. You see, there's a lot of misconceptions about me. People say I had this big falling out with the man upstairs, and now I've been exiled to hell for all eternity. That's not entirely true, you see. God and I have a working relationship. I take care of all the people he deems unworthy to get into heaven. It's harder to get into hell than heaven in reality. Stuff like sex before marriage and whatnot irks the guy, but he usually forgives and forgets, you know? But serial killers and rapists, people like that, he sends them to me. Of course, there's one exception. People like you. You haven't done anything wrong, Mr. Hampton, but it's pretty clear that you're starting to reject God's path for you altogether. You're just simply not interested in what he's had to offer you in life. Is that fair to say? I was stunned. Not only was all this hard to grasp, but he had summed up my own feelings perfectly. This wasn't my last name. These were my thoughts and feelings that this guy knew. Yes, sir, said you're right about that. I was eager to hear what else he had to say. Now that we've established that, here's what we do with people like you. He lets me offer them a deal. It's a rarer offer than winning the lottery. Option 1 is that you continue to live out whatever the big man's got played out for you. Option 2, you put your future in my hands, and for the rest of your life you can have anything your heart desires, but you'll have to spend the rest of eternity with me. You'd be surprised how many people take up my offer. All these pop stars and rappers, even those YouTube kids, they got all that from me, not on their own. Anything your heart desires, money, sex, fame, you name it, I'll give it to you. He reached out his hand. The question is, do we have a deal? I stood there nervously weighing my options. At first, it seemed like an opportunity too great to pass up. I could have whatever I wanted without having to worry about it anymore. Eternity with the devil, however, well, it was that which turned me off to the whole idea. Maybe I took things in life for granted too much. After all, it was at the point where God had allowed the devil himself to make me an offer for myself. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to say no, I said. Shit, it was because I said the whole eternity with me thing, wasn't it? He said, disappointed but smiling. Yeah, kinda, I said with increasing discomfort. Oh well. He said, I knew as soon as I said it, I gotta remember to leave that part out. Good choice, Mr. Hampton. Thanks for the cigarettes, and you should hope that you don't see me ever again. He turned, walked out, got in his car, and sped off in the direction of the sun. I was frozen. The devil had just walked into my gas station and offered me a bargain for my soul. Maybe this was exactly what I needed to happen, to show me that there was a plan for me all along and that I just had to stick with it. I thought about my past, my family I left behind, my ex-girlfriend from high school I still harbored feelings for, all the people and places I had secretly longed for. Back in San Diego, I thought about the text I was going to send to my parents about moving back in when I returned home, all while cleaning the Pepsi off the bottles to soda in the far right refrigerator. The devil wasn't too keen on cleaning up after himself.